In the year 1612, a strange frost settled over Kyoto. The Great Wars had bled into a peace as cold and silent as falling snow. Amidst this stillness stood Yamamoto Kenshin, a man who was more monument than flesh. At 63 summers, his record was a terrifying poem of precision. 147 duels, 0 defeats. He was the Grand Master of the Shinkage Ryu tradition, a man whose name made the air in a room grow heavy.
But perfection is a beautiful mausoleum. Kenshin had spent 45 years carving himself into a masterpiece of discipline, only to realize he had built a cage where his spirit used to be. Every strike was a programmed echo. Every breath was a calculated rhythm. He was a god of technique, but he had forgotten how to be a man in the present.
Chapter 1. The Architect of Shadows. Dawn at the Yamamoto Dojo was a ceremony of geometry. Weapons were aligned like stars. Students knelt like statues. Kenshin moved through the rows with the lethal efficiency of sharpened steel. His face was a map of ancient stone, his eyes twin voids of emptiness.
"Begin," he commanded. The students rose as one, a machine of skin and bone. They didn't move, they repeated. They didn't think, they executed. Kenshin called forth his senior, Tanaka, a man who had spent 15 years trying to become Kenshin's shadow. They sparred, but it wasn't a fight. It was a rehearsed dance. Kenshin won, as he always did, because he had programmed the very hands that tried to strike him.
Later, Lord Matsuyata of the shogunate requested Kenshin's services. "The world needs your discipline," the Lord said. "We need soldiers who follow forms perfectly, controlled, obedient, precise." Walking home, Kenshin felt a hairline fracture in his soul. He had succeeded in turning humans into puppets. He had sacrificed the way of the warrior, an awakening of life, for a system of spiritual taxidermy. He was the most disciplined man in Japan, and he was a ghost. That evening, he broke his first rule in decades. He walked past his meditation mat and into the wild, chaotic heart of the forest. Chapter 2. The Stone and the Stream. By the edge of a stream sat a monk, 70 years old and wearing joy like a sun-warm robe. "You look like a man who has mastered everything but lost the world," the monk said, sensing the legend's presence. Kenshin sat with the rigid posture of a mountain. The monk asked him a question that cut deeper than any katana. "Are you happy?" Kenshin spoke of honor and mastery. The monk spoke of Shoshin, the beginner's mind.
"You are present only with your library of memories," the monk whispered, tossing a stone into the water. The ripples shattered the stream's glassy surface. "Still water stagnates, Kenshin. Life is the ripple, not the pond." He challenged the master to return the next day with his blade for a lesson that would either shatter the cage or bury the bird. Chapter 3. The Architecture of a Memory. The next evening, Kenshin drew his sword, a masterpiece of steel. "Attack me," the monk commanded. Kenshin launched into a flawless Shinkage Ryu strike. The monk didn't even flinch. "I see a man performing a ghost story," the monk laughed. "You aren't responding to me. You are responding to a ghost of me you memorized decades ago."
"Put down the steel," the monk ordered. When Kenshin complied, the monk attacked. Kenshin's body moved automatically, a perfect block. "Stop!" the monk cried. "You are fighting your training, not the moment. To find presence, you must lose the defenses you built against it." He moved again. This time, as Kenshin's body reached for a classical response, the monk shifted. The perfect technique struck nothing but air. "Perfection is predictable," the monk said, "and the predictable can be killed. True mastery is the ability to adapt to the unknown." He gave Kenshin a 3-day penance. Do not teach, do not practice, do not be a master. Approach every second as if you are a blind man seeing light for the first time.
Chapter 4. The Void of the Cup. For 3 days, Kenshin entered a crisis of identity. He realized his entire life was a script. He couldn't even pick up chopsticks without a trained efficiency. He returned to the monk, defeated by his own habits. "You know about Mushin," the monk explained. "But your cup is so full of tea, there is no room for the water of life.
You have turned yourself into a quality control mechanism for tradition. The monk grabbed Kenshin's sword and swung it, messily, wildly, without a shred of school-taught form. It was unprofessional, but it was the most alive thing Kenshin had ever seen. The fourth challenge, the monk grinned, is to be wrong. Eat at the wrong time, hold your sword like a child, break the rules of your own existence. Discover that the world doesn't end when your form does. Chapter 5. The Funeral of a Master. On the seventh day, Kenshin woke late. He skipped his prayers. He walked unarmed. He felt like he was dissolving. I am going to really attack you now, the monk said, his eyes turning cold. No technique, no memory, just live. The monk lunged with genuine lethality. Kenshin's muscle memory tried to take over, but the monk's movements were alien, outside the scrolls of Shingage-ryu. In a moment of pure terror and not knowing, Kenshin simply moved. It wasn't a technique. It was a messy, desperate, spontaneous flail that saved his life. For one heartbeat, he wasn't a master. He was just there. That, said the monk, is Zanshin, raw awareness before the mind labels it. Kenshin wept. His 45 years of training weren't a waste, but they were merely the foundation. You must build the house before you can learn to live in the garden. The monk sent him back to his dojo with a final mission: teach them how to forget.
Chapter 6. The Art of Unlearning. Kenshin returned and shocked his students. Put away the swords, he said. Today, we learn to be fools. He began to dismantle their perfection. He forced them into chaos. He taught them to trust the moment over the manual. Visiting masters came to witness the legendary Yamamoto dojo and left in a state of scandal. They saw students moving like water, breaking every rule of the samurai way. You have gone mad, they whispered. No, Kenshin replied. I have finally woken up. When a young, arrogant challenger arrived and attacked with a perfect overhead strike, Kenshin didn't use a counterform. He just moved into the gap, responding to that specific man at that specific second. The challenger was disarmed before he could even register the defeat. What school was that? The youth asked, trembling. No school, Kenshin said. Just this moment.
Chapter 7. The Final Dance. Years passed. The dojo shrank, but the 20 students who remained were the most dangerous warriors in Japan. They had mastered the 3 stages: the foundation, discipline, and technique; the prison, realizing that discipline can become a cage; the freedom, holding the discipline lightly enough to drop it when the truth demands it. A former student returned, seeking the life he saw in Kenshin's eyes. Most masters choose their identity over the truth, Kenshin told him. They would rather be perfect corpses than messy students. But the secret is this: the discipline doesn't die. You just stop being its slave. Kenshin reached 69, sitting with the monk one last time. The danger of mastering unlearning, the monk warned, is thinking you have arrived. The path is a beginner's mind, forever.
Kenshin spent his final days in the paradox of his own making. He was a master who had forgotten how to be one. He sat in his dojo, not in a perfect meditative posture, but simply breathing. He had found something that no scroll could capture: the raw, present now. This is the ultimate teaching. There is no ultimate teaching. There is only the warrior who is dangerous because they have nothing left to defend, and the master who has finally learned how to dance.